You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers about hikers for everybody.
This is the Hammock Hangers Podcast, where we hang out and talk about everything from hammocks and hammock camping to the group hangs from around the country. Hey everyone, welcome to the Hammock Hangers Podcast, where we unwind, relax, and delve into all things hammock related. Join us as we swing into the world of hammocks, exploring tips and tricks for setting up that perfect hang, sharing stories of outdoor adventures, and discovering the latest trends in hammock camping and relaxation. Whether you're a seasoned hammocker or new to the art of hanging, this podcast is your cozy corner to kick back, escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life, and soak in the soothing atmosphere of the hammock culture. Prepare to be inspired, educated, and entertained as we embrace the hammock lifestyle together. So grab your favorite hammock, find that perfect spot to hang, and let's embark on a hammock-filled journey that will leave you feeling refreshed, rejuvenated, and ready to take on the world. This is the Hammock Hangers Podcast, where every episode is a breath of fresh air. Let's get started.
Howdy hangers, welcome to this week's episode of the Hammock Hangers Podcast. We have a great episode for you this week. Kind of wanted to do some last minute reminders on HangCon right around the corner. I think this episode will come out before the event, but if it doesn't, then you can just listen to this and laugh. But yeah, make sure that you are hopping on and picking up those last minute raffle tickets. There's always those last minute ones that always tends to kind of win the bigger prizes in that tier 3 arena. So if you haven't gone on to hangcon.com and purchased your tickets or raffle tickets, head over there and do that today. So this week we have back a longtime friend of mine, and he's been on the podcast before. He makes some really great YouTube content, and he has ventured into the new world of Leave No Trace, presenting that and spreading that word to the country in various communities. I would like to welcome back the one and only Rob Pelton. Rob, thanks for joining us again.
Absolutely, AJ. Thanks for having me. And yes, it's been a few years since I've been on. And do you start every episode saying, "Hey, this is going to be a great show," or is it just for me on this occasion?
You know, for this week in particular, it's just for you.
All right, I like it. Perfect. I like it.
Oh man. So it's been a while. And you said it's been a few years, but it's still mind blowing to me that we've been doing the podcast for gosh, I think we're on year 3 now. That's awesome. Just crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah, congrats. I mean, that's no small feat.
Yeah, over 100 episodes, and still pumping out content, and we appreciate the. I think we're up to like 26 or 27 listeners on every week.
All right, nice. Those are the dedicated.
So maybe one day we'll break those triple digits.
I love it. But for those 27. They look forward to it, and we appreciate every single one of you.
Thank you, sir. So Rob, let's talk about who you are for the people that don't know who you are. I guess in the YouTube space, If you don't, you really need to check out Rob's channel. He makes some really great backpacking and camping content over on YouTube. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so kind of my YouTube channel centers around backpacking and the gear that goes around backpacking. So I'll do a lot of gear reviews, and then of course, filming the backpacking trips, because I'm privileged enough to get into some amazing places around this country, and I'm able to share that with my viewers. My channel started off years and years ago, primarily as a hammock camping channel. And I've kind of documented my journey on my first hammock and how that turned into my second hammock. And now there's a third, and now there's a fourth hammock. But yeah, I mean, the hammock roots run deep. It's changed a little bit over the last couple of years because of work. But I love the fact that my hammocks are waiting for me anytime I need them, and anytime I need to get a good hang in. And speaking of hang, I'm looking forward to HangCon this year and actually hanging out with you fine folks.
Excellent. Like we are really excited about you finally being able to the stars have officially aligned and
Yeah.
you're able to join us this year. I remember so the video of yours that got me hooked and got me subscribed to your channel. You are a big component of the Warbite Ridge Runner. You made a video with like a bunch of different modifications, and
Yeah.
I think I've watched that episode at least like 10 times.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
like going
yeah,
through and just
I was-
stealing your ideas. I'll be honest. I stole probably 90% of those ideas.
well, I mean, those ideas were born from just trial and error, right? And a lot of them worked. And the Ridge Runner, I will say, still to this day, is my most comfortable sleeping hammock. It's not the fastest to set up, but it is the most comfortable, and it's certainly not the lightest. But for pure comfort, the Ridge Runner still hands down for me is that Ridge Runner. But I'm debating on which hammock to bring to HangCon. I'm torn between the Ridge Runner and the Superior gear. It's like, right, first world problems.
I'm debating just how many setups that I will bring to HangCon. I tend to bring like a lot just in the case. Actually, we had an individual last year that came and planned on sleeping in their car while they were at the event, and just due to legality and liability issues, we don't allow sleeping in cars
Right.
In the parking lot, and they didn't have any gear. Well, luckily with the wonderful community that we have, and also like I brought a few different sets, I was able to outfit his entire setup for the weekend, and he I assumed that he slept really well. So
I'm sure. And it's funny because I'm sure we are not alone, but I can certainly outfit 2 or 3 people completely with a comfortable hammock. And I'm sure, I mean, this whole group, we could probably outfit an army at this point to get actually some comfortable sleeping in the backcountry. I'm sure.
So something that I've talked about doing, just because when we went to Michigan this year,
Yeah.
the fee for my check bag was about the same price as my actual ticket. It was ridiculous. So I flew Allegiant Air, which I mean is great if you're just like going on a trip, but Allegiant Air only gives you a personal item. They don't even give you a carry-on.
Oh,
Like only a personal item. And I'm like,
that's how to get away with it.
I can't fit quilts and stuff like that. So I end up looking, it's like, okay, how much is the carry-on was like $50 each way.
Oh my goodness.
And a checked bag was $54 each way. I was like, well, I'll just pony up and get the checked bag so I can just like throw stuff in and end up doing that. But I was talking to Stephanie at the event, and what I'm thinking about doing next year is just showing up and not having anything. And that's really weird for like me to do, just considering who I am and just my personality. But I'm gonna give it a go, and I'm just gonna test my own theory that if I go to a hang and with absolutely nothing, would the community provide for somebody that just doesn't have anything?
Oh, I'm sure they would, but you got to think that like the founder, one of the founding fathers of HangCon shows up without a minimum of 3 hammocks. Is that legal?
It's weird.
What are the
Dude,
bylaws
it's
say?
weird. Don't get me wrong. It is weird. I will be very outside of my comfort zone.
Right.
Interesting. I was very outside my comfort zone when we went to Denmark this past year, and I only brought 1 hammock. One.
Which one?
So I brought a Quilted Chameleon. That's what I brought.
Okay. Yeah.
So
very nice.
Yeah, brought a Quilted Chameleon just because with the Quilted Chameleon I forget. I think I brought my UGQ top quilt. I was able to put everything in the Anaconda from Dutchware and just smash everything in. And because I also did not bring a check bag to Denmark, because I said I will never do that again after the first year. So everything fit in a carry-on and a personal item, and for the entire time we were in Europe. So,
right, and I guess like a bag, like a carry-on suitcase full of down probably doesn't raise that many alarms.
It really doesn't. It really doesn't. I was really because like yourself, my Ridge Runner is probably overall my most comfortable hammock. I just worry about the poles sometimes taking them on flights because it might depend on who you get checking
Right.
your bag to
I
see,
can see
hey,
that.
will this fly? Will this not fly? So I just said, you know what? I'm just going to avoid the rigmarole and just bring it gathered in. So
I never considered that. Yeah, the spreader bars. I mean, if you can't take trekking poles, because that's kind of what they resemble,
yeah,
right? I mean, could you imagine
but
someone
you
taking
can
off an
take tent
airplane?
poles.
You well, you could argue that, but do you want to even go there? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I would hate to go that far away and not. I mean, the hammock community over there is really, really cool too. I don't know if they have. Well, I've got connections over there, so I could probably be good.
You know
But
some people, but still,
I might know a guy or two or a few gals that might hook me up.
Okay.
Oh lordy!
Yeah,
So
I don't know. I would be interested in that theory, but I don't think you could do it, AJ. I don't think you could
it
not.
man.
Shouldn't
You got
be
me
stressing
dreading.
yourself out
You
just
got me
thinking
dreading.
about it.
Good sir, I think I brought like 12 complete setups to HankCon this past year.
Okay.
I make
Okay.
poor financial choices,
Okay,
Rob.
hold on.
I make.
Hold on. How many hammocks do you have?
I don't know. I don't. That's not. I'll just put it this way. I brought 12 complete setups, and when I say complete, I mean hammock, top quilt, under quilt,
Rainfly.
tarp. Yeah, I think everything there because I put them all. I had the quilt bags. I just put everything in a quilt bag and just said, all right, I've got 12 that I can lend out, let people try. I like to show off the gear too. Like, oh, I've never slept in an hammock or I've never slept in a ridge runner. Well, hey, I got one. I can help. I can help you. Try that
That's
out.
a great idea. If you want to showcase the different brands, right? That's a great idea. I'd love to see a video on this. All of them set up, and you taking us through every single one of them and why you have it.
Man, that would be a long series. That y'all think Shug's hammock camping 101 would be long. That would be, man.
Mm-hmm.
I need a lot of trees.
Right.
That would have to be a national forest, or maybe like a pine tree farm for me to set up all those hammocks.
I like it. Well, if that ever happened, you would have my vote to watch it for sure.
Excellent, excellent. So Rob, so you ventured kind of a transition in life, and you don't make as much like backpacking videos and stuff again because you've been kind of busy. Let's talk about this new endeavor that you took over not too long ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago, we're actually just finishing up year two. My partner Janelle and I decided to uproot our lives and change our career paths, uh, all of that, to hit the road and actually travel the country full time, well, 11 months out of the year, and actually educate and spread the messaging of Leave No Trace. So we actually work for the Leave No Trace organization. And for those of you who don't know, Leave No Trace is an actual nonprofit. It's not just a concept, right? But that's what we do. And due to that, yeah, my YouTube schedule has changed. My YouTube content has changed a little bit, mainly because I can't receive items for gear reviews as easily because I don't know where I'm going to be. And the fact that we're traveling and we only have so much room in a vehicle, I can't bring 12 hammock setups with me. And Janelle's not a hammock camper, so when we do backpack on the road, we are tent city. We're on the ground for those times. So last year I did bring a hammock with me. I set it up once, and that kind of bummed me out. But it was cool because it actually stormed that night in Florida. It was a cool night of sleep on that one. But it didn't make sense to bring it on the road for this year, and I probably won't bring a hammock next year. But that's okay. I still have my hammocks. They're still relevant. They're still comfortable. They're still in good shape, and they are ready for me for the next adventure.
So Leave No Trace, you were telling me that you're going to be presenting some Leave No Trace stuff at HankCon.
Yeah.
So if you're coming to HankCon, make sure you check out Rob's talk that he's going to be doing on Saturday. But they just released some new guidelines specifically for hammock camping.
Yeah. So we go into a lot of different ways people recreate outside, how people get outside and enjoy nature, right? And a lot of times when we talk about Leave No Trace, we always think of like backcountry, hiking and backpacking, things like that. But it's actually so much more than that. And hammock camping is just another component of being outside. The same Leave No Trace principles apply. It's just that Leave No Trace, we have some guidelines to help you be a more sustainable hammock camper. And I got to think that everyone listening to this and everyone attending HankCon probably already practices most of these things. But these hammock camping guidelines are more for the general public who may not necessarily know that one-inch straps are better than ropes, these kinds of things.
So I'll harp on the hammock camping community here a little bit. When we were in Denmark, and this has been a case on a few different events that I've been to, even with the campground that we do HankCon. When we left the Danish Outdoor Festival and HankCon Europe, there were some people that came through and collected all the trash from the camping areas and things like that. They had, I want to say, I may be exacerbating this number. I want to say over 30 large scale trash bags from the tent camping and overlanding area that they had collected and kind of gathered up.
Mm-hmm.
In the hammock camping area, they had 6 pieces of garbage.
Isn't that amazing? Oh, 6 individual pieces of garbage.
6 pieces of garbage.
Right. So what that tells me is the hammock community at large has more of a connection to these outdoor places. We're in them. We're spending time. We're spending our time, money, and energy to get to these places and hang. Right. And it's part of the culture, it seems, which is amazing, which I love to hear. Now, the overlanding community, they got to catch up a little bit. The festival crowds, they got to catch up as well. But that's awesome news. I'm glad to hear that. That should be a proud moment.
So one of the things that kind of got me, I was listening to your interview that you did with Chad with UGQ, and a lot of people have some misconceptions on just leave no trace. It's not just about, hey, take your trash out, which, I mean, again, a huge part of that, but there's a lot of other like nuances of leave no trace that even I was like, hey man, I've never really thought about that.
Yeah.
So for somebody that might be like new to hammock camping, what are some probably the most important aspects of leave no trace that you would want someone to understand right away?
Well, the one thing to keep in mind is a lot of people know leave no trace as a concept. Like I mentioned, they hear things like pack it in, pack it out. And that's great. A lot of that has to do with garbage. Or we hear other things like leave it better than you found it, right? That's kind of another leave no trace message as well. But we do have some messaging. We have principles. We have 7 principles to help people make better decisions outside. But when it really comes down to it, whenever we're outside having fun, enjoying nature, we're going to make an impact somehow, some way, just by our presence being there, right? But what we have to ask ourselves is, well, if I'm in here, what can I do to make the least amount of impact possible, right? Like, okay, I should hang on a tree that's a minimum of 6 inches in diameter, right? And as far as fires go, make sure the fires are completely put out before you leave. Is a fire allowed? So it's these kinds of things. And I'll go through the 7 principles real quick, but I want to let you know that we teach 5-day courses on leave no trace. So when I go through 7 principles, just keep in mind, there's so much more to it. The first one being plan ahead and prepare. We go plan ahead and prepare. That's simply being prepared for when you go out, because the more prepared you are to go out for a weekend or for a long backpacking trip, the more fun you're going to have because you're prepared, the safer you'll be, and the least impact you'll cause. Because if you're not prepared and you get into a situation and search and rescue has to come get you, well, that's just going to impact the area even more, right? So that's a big one, just planning ahead and preparing. 2 would be traveling and camping on durable surfaces. So, if you're hanging, try to hang over a durable surface as much as possible. If it's a field full of like fresh wildflowers, maybe try not to trample those and try to set up your hammock on something that's a little bit more durable. Same thing with hiking, try to stick to the trail as much as possible. Whatever's going to make the least amount of impact, right? 3 would be disposing of waste properly, and that does include trash. It includes human waste, and it includes gray water as well. We want to be sure that we're mindful of the trash that we produce. Principle 4 would be leave what you find. So if you come across those said flowers, take a picture of it. Don't pick it, because if everyone picks a flower from a field, then obviously there's going to be no more flowers left, right? So just preserving that joy of discovery for anyone else who comes along. But that also leads into invasive species as well. We're trying to minimize the spread of those, because invasive species is a multi-billion-dollar industry now to help prevent. So cleaning off your boots, your mountain bike tires, draining your watercraft, these kinds of things. Fifth principle would be minimizing campfire impacts. Like I said, be responsible with fire. Don't leave it unattended. Make sure it's completely out. 95%, 85% of all wildfires are human caused, whether it's negligence or arson. So that's an interesting stat. 6 would be respect wildlife. If we're in an area and we can't control our pets, maybe leave them at home so they don't chase wildlife out of their safe habitats. Store your food away from them so critters can't get to your food, because we see a lot where animals, it could be a big animal like a bear or a small animal like a chipmunk, they know people mean food. They can come into camp, chew through your tents, chew through your backpacks to get to these things. So try to store that stuff away. And then lastly, be considerate of others. When you're outside, be respectful of everyone else who's enjoying that space as well, because we all have the ability and the power to enhance someone's outdoor experience, but we also have the power to ruin their outdoor experience as well. But if everyone can get outside and make a connection with nature, then we see people wanting to take care of it at that point. So
yeah,
there's a brief rundown of the 7 principles.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like a lot of people are talking about like, food storage and things like that. Everyone think, be bear aware, which, yeah, especially in certain parts of the country, bears are a big deal, and they're big things. But in my time camping, I've never had an experience with bear in campsites where they're messing with stuff. However, because of the prevalence of people not practicing leave no trace, I've seen plenty of damage done by raccoons and squirrels and things like that. So while you might think, oh well, let's feed the squirrels some of our cashew nuts or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like no, because more than likely you will see a squirrel, and that squirrel or that raccoon. We had our planning hang for HangCon last weekend. We were talking about how we've been to campsites where we have made like some species extremely inventive into getting into, like, you've got to like strap down coolers and things like that. You got to shove them under picnic tables so they can't get open. And that's not for bears. That's for raccoons.
Right. So raccoons can open coolers. They have opposable thumbs, so they actually have the dexterity to do that. They can open up garbage can lids and things like that. So if you do have food or you're cooking in camp, something like that, and if you're going to leave, make sure that your cooler or whatever gets stored, either in a bear bag or in your car or a food locker. We want to try to deter animals from getting our food, because if they get a reward, they're more likely to come back. And there are some extreme cases where if you don't have food, they get upset. And I've seen people actually being bitten by squirrels because they wouldn't feed them, right? What we don't want is squirrels becoming dependent on food from humans, because eventually they can lose the ability to forage themselves. Trust me, squirrels, raccoons, they know how to find food. They've been doing it forever. They're going to be fine. Even if they give you the sad eyes, they're fine.
They're fine. So with you traveling the country, you've been around lots of different types of campers, from backpackers to overlanders. So what are some of the most common environmental mistakes that you see people make, even when they really do have the best intentions?
Right. And we do see that. We find that people want to do the right thing, and they may even think they're doing the right thing, but they may not necessarily know. You kind of don't know what you don't know, right? Feeding animals is one of them. A lot of people don't think of the long-term effects that could have on an animal population. 2 would be dog waste. There's dog poop everywhere. And that's actually like the second leading cause of water pollution is dog poop. So when we find people not picking up their dog poops, it's an issue. It's becoming collectively a huge issue. We know that when we see an overabundance of fecal matter in water, that causes algae blooms. It causes oxygen deprivation. And animals live in there. We drink this water as well, and we have the ability to filter water, but the wild animals don't. So if you have a dog, pick up the dog waste and actually throw it away. Don't just leave the bag on the trail, but actually throwing it away is kind of that's an example of leave no trace. So not understanding the difference between dog poop and bear poop. We hear, well, my dog's an animal, right? Why can't my dog poop in the woods, but a bear can? I understand your logic, but when you think about it, what is poop made from? The things that we eat. Bear eats grubs and berries and things like that. So when they go, they're pooping back the things they ate in the environment. Your dog is eating yellow dye number 5 and red 40 and processed this, and they could be on medications, who knows? So their poop is nowhere near natural to that area. That's why it's different. And then 2, just the general consideration of others. If you're at camp and it's a kind of a full campground, keep the noise levels low. Try to use the red lights as much as possible so you're not blinding people. Just the general consideration of others, because everyone is out there. We're all out there to get these mental, emotional, and physical benefits of being outside. So let's try to help each other out so we can all enjoy it.
So along with that, so when you were camping, what is like your pet peeve? Like as far as I have got one in my head specifically from our trip out west, but like what is Rob's pet peeve when it comes to camping, whether it be backpacking or in a campground?
My pet peeve in a campground, it didn't used to be like this. But if, like, I know people burn garbage. I know that, like, burning a couple of bits here and there, I'm not usually that big of a deal. It's when people throw their whole trash bag that they've collected over the last 3 days and then throw that whole thing on the fire. It's like, oh man, like, I mean, I get it. It's not in a landfill, you know what I mean? But like that whole bag at once, like and now I got to smell it now. And what if I cook over it? It's a whole thing. I mean, I get the argument both ways, but at the end of the day, that garbage is lighter now than when you packed it in. You can pack it out. It's fine. Right.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I see when people are burning too much garbage at one time, like a wrapper here or there. I'm not usually worried about it. It's just like a whole gallon Ziploc bag full of garbage. You toss it on the fire. That bothers me.
That's
but but you do you. I'm not there to. I'm not the police. But you do you.
We are just silently judging you. Maybe not so silently sometimes.
But... Well, we all do that regardless, right? Like you're that's what you're really doing,
bruh. For me, like when I hear we were in Rocky Mountain National Park, and we had I want to say site 62 or something like it is one of the great, you can see the mountain range and the site, you can see like one of the 14ers like right there.
Nice.
And you're just out there and you hear someone start a generator.
You're like,
you're just
I get it. With the solar battery technology these days, like you don't even need a gas generator anymore. But someone cranking one of those up at 8 a.m. or letting it run until 9:59 at night, it's like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
I'm with you. But
at some point, you really start. You're just like, I'm just rooting for the wildlife. Like I'm just like, come on.
We're starting to see like a lot of people, a lot of overlanders, when they pull up, they set out like 2 or 3 solar panels. Boom. I'm like, yeah, there you go. Those are quiet. I like that.
There you go. I'm liking some solar panels. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So, one of the arguments that we see a lot when people are looking at, hey, tent camping versus hammock camping, and being an expert in the whole leave no trace realm. So, how does hammock camping compare to tent camping in terms of, I guess, overall environmental impact when both are done properly?
Well, I mean, in my mind's eye, there's pros and cons to each, right? If you're in a tent and you're setting up your tent on a durable surface like a dirt or pine needles or something, that's usually not an issue. That's a surface that can take those impacts or bounce back from those impacts, right? But there's not always times where you can do that depending on where you are. So if you set up, your tent on a fragile area, you can damage that quite a bit, especially if you stay there for multiple nights on end. Whereas a hammock, you're hanging high above those things, provided you're not trampling everything, right? So there's definite pros and cons when it comes to durable surfaces. uh, Hammocks aren't on a durable surface. It's just your footsteps, right? And as far as everything else, it's all general. Leave no trace after that. To me, it comes down to durable surfaces, and then hanging on the appropriate trees as well. Uh, I would say is the main part. When we're talking about waste or cooking, I mean that's all general camping. That's all general stuff. But I think it comes just to the surface itself.
Do you think, like, with some heavier use areas, just that come to my mind, campsites or shelters like on the AT, do
Mhm.
you think with more and more people transitioning from tents to hammocks, do you think that less ground usage can maybe benefit that area, I guess, long term, with less people using the ground to sleep versus hanging in trees? Do you think that
Um,
aids in reclaiming some of that area to where it should be?
Well, I mean, just speaking logically and how I think about it personally, yes, because you're not setting tent up, you're not trampling, this sensitive area over and over and over again by tents. Whereas you're in a hammock, like I said, you're above it all, literally. So in my mind, it's more sustainable on the actual surfaces in my mind.
Gotcha. So when if I'm going to a campsite and I'm specifically keeping leave no trace in my mind,
Mhm.
um, what are some leave no trace guidances that you would give me for choosing a particular campsite versus another?
Well, the first thing you want to do, you want to make sure to try to find a campsite that's already established, right? Good campsites are typically found and not necessarily made. But if you're going to go in and disperse camp and actually make your own campsite, try to impact it as little as you can. Don't chop down all the trees, don't make camp furniture, these kinds of things. But you want to just make sure that it's an area that's on a durable surface if you can find that, and try to be at least 200 feet away from water if you can. That just helps kind of protect that water source as well. And that goes for going to the bathroom too. If you're digging cat holes, that's 200 feet from those water sources. If you're wondering what 200 feet is, it's about 70 big steps, give or take, if you're wondering how far that is. But other than that, just try to think of what you can do to leave the least amount of impact. Because, like I said, you're going to leave an impact no matter what. But what decisions can we make to keep it minimal?
So when you're traveling around, obviously across the country, what are some tips that you would give people? They're going to a place where hammock camping is kind of restricted.
Mhm.
What should those type of campers know before they head out? Is there a particular place that we can see? Like, what research would we go into to make sure, hey, we can camp, or what precautions should we take before we head out?
Right. So that goes back to planning ahead and preparing. That way you're not traveling to this amazing place, planning on sleeping in a hammock, and then realize that there is a regulation against it. That could just ruin your whole time, right? So researching, the restrictions on that is going to be the big one. And then two, if you're going into an area where there's no trees, hammock stands, anyone? I mean, there's a lot of them out there. I'm sure we're going to see some at HangCon. Those are perfect options for that. They even have trailer hitch, hammock stands now. Or at the end of the day, if you can't hang a hammock, well, you're ground dwelling. It is what it is.
Gotcha. So, what are some of the best ways for hammock campers to treat human waste? The whole pooping in the woods thing is always a kind of a taboo topic, but everybody really wants to know, like, what goes into, as far as leave no trace goes, when you got to drop a deuce in the woods.
Right. So everyone poops. I don't know if you knew that, but everyone poops. And a lot of it has to do with the environment you're in. A lot of places out east where there's good soil, you can actually dig a hole 6 to 8 inches. That's the magic depth. That's the depth where that will maximize that decomposition, right? And some places it's okay to bury toilet paper as well. But like I said, 200 feet away from water is what you want, because that's how much land you need to filter out anything bad before it hits that water source. If you can't get 200 feet away, well, then get as far as you can. That's going to be the least impactful thing, right? When you're out west, like literally, we were camping in Utah on rock. There's no digging, nothing. So it's the first time I used a wag bag. If you've ever heard of that, it's a concept not a lot of people are familiar with. And then when they find out what a wag bag is, they get super uncomfortable. But a wag bag is essentially a bag that is used to poop in so you can pack it out. Because when you're in an environment like that out west, there is no place to go. And leaving your fecal matter out there is not going to be good for the area because of what's in our poop, right? So they have wag bags to take care of that. And I used it. It actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Bring extra toilet paper, and then you roll it up, pack it away. It all gels up. There's a gel inside of it that turns everything into a gel. This is what it is right here. It looks like this.
Oh, that's not too big at all.
Yeah, but it's a double bag system. Like this external layer, protects it, helps cut down on the smell. And then there's a larger inner bag where you do your business, and you can pee in here too. Everything turns into a gel. You roll it up, pack it out, and discard it appropriately. We're starting to see a lot of places that the uses are so high that there is nowhere to dig a hole. Like there's landmines everywhere. So there are some places that are requiring these now. So if you see a silver bag hanging from someone's pack, don't touch it. Just leave it alone.
It's not a Mylar blanket.
Yeah, it's not an emergency blanket, right? Exactly. So we're starting to see this out there. But like I said, at the end of the day, do what's going to be the least impactful thing. If there's an established bathroom near there, use that first. That's going to be your first option, whether it's a pit toilet or a latrine. Use that first. But if you have to go, make sure you're digging that hole as far away from water as you can get, 200 feet ideally, and do what you got to do.
Gotcha. So, what are some maybe like wildlife? We talked about some interactions with wildlife, but what are some wildlife interactions that hammock campers especially are prone to, and how can they, kind of prevent negative encounters?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing I will say is going to be food storage. If you're in an area that's prone to animal interactions, everyone thinks of bears. Every time there's a noise in the woods, it's a bear, right? We're more impacted by the little critters, mice and squirrels, more so than anything else. But you want to be sure that you're packing away your food wrappers, anything smellable, away from you, so animals don't come to that area. There is something that we like to say: try to use the Bermuda Triangle if you can. Have you ever heard of that?
I have not.
So the Bermuda Triangle, imagine there's a triangle, right? At the top of the triangle is where you sleep. That's where your hammock is, right? And go down to one other end of the point of that triangle. And now that's the area you cook and eat in. And then to complete the triangle on the other side, that's where you store your food. So now you got this triangle, ideally 200 feet from another. That way, if an animal comes, they're going to go to where you cooked or where your food is and not actually come to where you are. Because animals, they actually don't want anything to do with humans, but they do like the food that humans bring. So try to separate yourself from any of those smellables when you're out there. That's going to minimize your chance. And if you want to know how to keep a safe distance from animals, you can use something called the thumb trick or the rule of thumb. Have you ever heard of that?
I have not.
So let's say that there's a bison sitting out there, right? And you want to find out if you're too close or not. This is a very, very simple trick. You extend your arm all the way out in front of you and put your thumb up like you're hitchhiking, right? And then you close one eye and put your thumb over that animal. If your thumb completely covers that animal, then you're at a safe distance. But if you can see the animal beyond your thumb, you're too close and you should probably create some more distance, right? That's a good way to find out if you're too close. And it's scalable. If it's a chipmunk, you can get close. If it's a bison, there's no such thing as a national bison petting season. Don't do that. Back up.
Don't pet the fluffy cows.
Don't pet the fluffy cows. Right? Yeah.
So I guess that's the next thing that people, a lot of people, like we were in Yellowstone a few years ago, and there's people all the time out there, just they pet the fluffy cows thinking,
yes,
oh, they're just like domesticated cattle. No. So
they are
beyond like bears and things, probably what are some of the most misconceived dangerous creatures that are out in the wilderness that you probably should stay away from because they will mess you up, even though they might look cute and fluffy?
I mean, just about any animal, if cornered, can be pretty vicious. I mean, bears, obviously, especially if there's cubs involved, that's just bad news. Elk, especially during elk rutting season, they can be very, very aggressive. Deer can be the same way. Bison can run you over. You're basically getting run over by a car with one of those things. Um, but even anything that can be cornered, like raccoons can turn vicious, possums can turn vicious. So just try to keep your distance from these things. They are wild animals. It is not an outdoor petting zoo. I did hear a story of a lady, I want to say it was Yellowstone. She asked the park ranger when they bring the bears out. No, we don't bring the bears out. Like this is natural. There is no safety nets here, right? So they are wild animals, and it's best to treat them as such.
This is real. This is real life. This is
It is real life, and we've seen. And then whenever someone find like a video clip of someone trying to get too close to a bison, and the bison ends up charging, like I low key root for the bison.
Dude, I completely agree.
Right?
We were in Glacier, and we had not seen a grizzly like yet,
Mhm.
and we were in Glacier. We finally saw one. He was about probably a good 200 yards away.
Mhm.
And so there's these people like, you stop on the roads like, oh, look out there, because you hardly see them too much. There's a guy getting out of his truck,
Bro.
walking closer to get, and you're just like, dude, I really don't think you know how fast that bear could clear that
Right.
200 yards if
Yeah.
he really wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, even moose, like moose, look very calm and very slow. No, they're extremely destructive, especially cow moose with calves. A cow
Mhm.
will crush you if they think it's endangering their calf, right? And then
And
of
they're
course,
massive creatures.
oh,
They are massive. They are 4 times as big as the largest whitetail that you think you've seen a moose, and you think you understand just how big a moose is until you see one. You're like,
yeah, they
I
are
was wrong.
massive. You're talking 6.5 feet at the shoulder, right? Like you can drive a VW bug underneath one. Probably they're massive creatures. But also down where you are, if you see alligators sunning themselves on the bank, they look like they're sleeping. No, they're quick. They can get you.
Yeah.
Don't get too close.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We have had we were backpacking in the Ocala National Forest, and
Mhm.
we did have a gator just like stroll right through our campground
Ooh.
or our campsite. We were camping at Hidden Pond on the Florida Trail, and there's this 4 5 foot gator just strolling on by, and it's like, you stay over there, dude. I'll
Wow.
be good.
Yeah. Last year I swam in Hidden Pond last year. Me and Janelle did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, we love it out there.
yeah, it was
We
great.
absolutely love it
That was
out
also
there.
the first time we ran into a completely naked hiker. That was interesting.
That's also the case too.
Right there you go. That makes sense. That tracks.
Anything that could happen in the Ocala National Forest, because we always get the rainbow people. Are
Yeah.
you familiar with?
Yes, I
Yeah,
am.
yeah,
We know
yeah.
of them. Oh, that's so
So,
cool.
yeah, like gators down here. There's Florida. Actually, the Ocala National Forest has the highest concentration of black bear in the country.
I would not
But
have
like
thought that.
our black bear are very small compared to like other things, but
Oh,
still
just like
they're
your
very there.
whitetails. Yeah, right.
Florida Panthers are, I've heard more and more stories of people seeing them more migrate a little bit further north.
Mhm.
So there's that. Plus we get like snakes and things like that. One of the time we were out at Hidden Pond, actually, they had to airlift someone out there because they got bit by a pygmy rattler. So
Really?
yeah,
Wow. Look at that.
I came very close to getting bitten by one. I was actually hiking out, and I came within probably a foot from stepping on one, and I heard
Wow.
like the rattle. I was like, "Whoa!" And I mean, I was hiking by myself at the time, and that would have been bad news bears. So
Right. So I mean that's why like some people say you hike with headphones. Sometimes sure, but sometimes probably
it's
not.
not. Nah, yeah. I after that incident specifically, I no longer play music while I'm hiking. I don't hike with headphones uh, in any way, just because I want to hear everything around. Now, I might sing to myself,
Sure.
but yeah, no headphones for me.
Yeah, see, there you go. Man, that's amazing.
So tell us about like your travels and with outside of Leave No Trace. What are some of the really awesome places that you've been this year that you say, hey, if you need to check out a really cool place, go there?
Well, it's amazing. So living in Minnesota and also I was born in Florida actually on this whole East Coast vibe. Everything is green tunnel for us, right? There's some elevation out east, but when you head out west, it's a different world. Like spend some time in Utah. It is another planet, from just a geological standpoint, like just the rock formations. It's a different world. We recently went backpacking in Canyonlands National Park for a couple of nights.
Mhm.
Stellar. I mean, it was so amazing that I didn't even film it. Like I would usually film that, but I just wanted to just enjoy being there because the landscape was so different. The ecology was different. And I just enjoyed every single second of it. So if you're ever out, in Utah, I mean, visit, Capitol Reef, Canyonlands, Bryce Canyon, Zion Arches, any of those, amazing places. Absolutely amazing. So I would say
And it
Utah.
really varies depending on where in the state you are because
Yeah.
you can get like the deserts with like arches and
Yeah.
canyonlands and things like that, but you can also like there's a mountains right there as well. So there's the gradient is significant depending on
Yes.
where you are in the state.
Exactly. And also like Northern California, we went up to the redwoods. Like what? Another different world. Like when everyone thinks of California, you think of like San Diego and LA. No, go north. It's amazing up there. Amazing.
So I'm really looking forward to this coming summer. We're going to be doing HangCon out there,
Nice.
and we're afterwards. That's where we're going to base our summer road trip on. And I finally probably the very first bucket list item for me as far as being. I remember in the third grade reading about this tree that they had gutted out and built into a house, and I learned about the sequoias,
Yes.
and that was the very first maybe core memory that was like, gosh, I would love to see that. And we're going to go to Kingsland and Sequoia National Park this summer, so I'm super stoked. Redwood is also on my list as well. I was really surprised of just how far Redwood is from Sequoia. I
It
was
is.
just saying, oh, big trees and big trees, they've got to be close to each other. No, they are
No,
not.
they're not. Yeah, Kings Canyon and Sequoia, like you'll see General Sherman and and Tunnel Tree and all that kind of stuff. It's no matter how many pictures you take, it's not going to do it justice. It's just
No.
the scale of these things is yeah, it doesn't even look real, but you'll have a great time. If you want any tips, just hit us up. We can probably direct you. Um, that was one of our cold nights camping right outside of Kings Canyon as well. It got down to 19 degrees that night in the rooftop
Ooh.
tent. Yeah, we were nice and cozy. But yeah, that whole area is just amazing. Completely different than what you'll ever see in Florida, the Carolinas,
Oh
even
yeah.
Minnesota. Different. Yeah.
Just spending the time out in the Lobo and Sobo, or Lobo and Oso group campsites where we're going to be doing HangCon, and that's San Bernardino National
Nice.
Forest. Just seeing some of the pine trees out there are just so completely different than the pine trees that you see
Yeah.
here. Where here they're thin and then they kind of like taper out toward the top. Out there, they are stout boys
Yeah, you got
all
yeah,
the way up.
The Douglas firs are massive. Even the ponderosa pines are massive. So yeah, you'll see. You'll have a good time.
I'm really stoked. I'm really stoked. So let's talk about some of the gear that you use traveling. So what are some of your favorite pieces of gear that you just couldn't live without while you're living on the road 200 nights a year?
Oh my goodness, that's a whole thing. Well, I would say the fact that we live and work out of that vehicle is kind of an adventure in and of itself. But I would say one thing is if you're going to be doing road trips, forget your Yeti coolers, forget your Arctic coolers, get yourself like an ice cold electric fridge. Like not having to deal with ice and actually having cold food. You can buy actual produce and meat and just have that available for you. One of the best things that I've ever gotten, and it made our life on the road just that much better. And then secondarily, a big battery bank. We have a big Blue Eddy power bank that charges through the alternator when we drive. We power our whole life with that battery bank, from our fridge to our induction cooktop, to Starlink, to charging all our electronics. Like that in and of itself, those two things will solve most of your issues, no matter where you are. Personal things, we do, since we do a lot of backpacking, we have a Durston, backpacking tent. I wish, like I said, I could bring my hammocks with. And then I'm still trying to finalize what good backpack to bring with me for our backpacking trips. I have a lot of them. This last year was a Durston Wapta 30, and I think this coming year, I think I'm going to bring an Osprey with me. So
Okay.
yeah, that's it. So yeah, gear is a huge thing, but I can only bring so much, because if we can't fit it in the vehicle, we can't bring it. And we're almost to a point to where it's like, hey, I want to buy a new pair of socks. Well, you better get rid of a pair of socks before you put in a new pair of socks.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
Like the life that you got, like your priority for space is so huge, because that is your house on four wheels.
Yeah. And then some of the most valuable things when we're on the road is the people that we meet or the friends we get to visit, because there's been a lot of times where we'll just randomly stumble upon someone, and they invite us to their place for a room and a shower and dinner, and I do some checks to make sure they're not axe murderers, right? But we've met some amazing people, and we've learned to really not say no if we get an invite like that, because since we're on the road, we don't have a shower or a washing machine. We'll say yes to most invitations.
So like, what are some, in the past year with your travels, what are the three highlights that you just like, that moment was just incredible for me? So what are your top three?
Well, the first one I would say is one of our first big conferences was a camp conference. You know how like have a bunch of youth camps. It was a conference that we had to work to talk about Leave No Trace, but it just happened to be in New Orleans during Mardi Gras. Never thought I'd go to Mardi Gras. I had to go there for work, and I got.
That sounds like a struggle there, Rob. That sounds like
it was tough. I got through it, but I didn't realize. I mean, yeah, it's all night parades all night, and just I'm glad I experienced it. Don't need to go again. I'm good. Right, I'm good. And then the second place would be my second visit to the Grand Canyon. We actually had some time off right after Thanksgiving and before Christmas last year, and we got to hike the Grand Canyon. We did the Tonto Trail, and just being out in that Western environment, and just the Grand Canyon in general. You don't have to be a good photographer; just point and shoot, and you'll get an amazing photo. So just spending some time out there was one of the highlights, for sure. And then the third moment would be coming home and being able to sit still for a few weeks and actually unpack.
I can imagine.
That would be highlight number three.
So with you being, returning to a lot of these places, multiple times, and do you think, so I remember the very first time that I went, specifically saw the Rocky Mountains the first time. It was just such a sensory overload for me. I was just, I grew up in the Appalachian Mountains. Like I grew up, I'm good old hill folk, but them hills hit different.
They hit
real different. I would always get a little irked at my wife. She would say, because she had done a lot more traveling before we got married. And I would say, oh, my mountains, I'm proud of my mountains. Da, 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 da. And she's like, there ain't no mountains. Those are some big old hills or whatever. And I was like, no, those are my mountains. And then the first time that I saw the Rocky Mountains, I was humbly put in my place. But I remember going, and the second time, seeing them for the second time and being able to enjoy them a lot more, because it wasn't such the sensory overload. Do you find that with your travels as well? The second time you get to really enjoy a place a little bit more?
Yeah, because the first time you're just in awe of everything, and even driving on some of the freeways through the mountains, like you feel unsafe, and there's people buzzing by you at 80 miles an hour, and you're like, you're doing 40, right?
Right.
But all those senses are really overwhelming, and just the expanse in the space, like there is no way to reproduce that anywhere else. When you look up, you're just like, what? Now I know out east, everyone, they look to do the 4,000 footers, right? 4,000 feet. And those are challenging. Those are legit. We spent some time in the Whites in New Hampshire. Those are
they're no joke.
Yeah.
No joke.
They're legit mountains, right? And, and there's several over 4,000 feet. Now head out west. They have 14,000.
14ers, yeah.
Now we're looking at 14,000 feet. And the air is different. It's thinner. There's less of it, just an absolute different world. But a lot of people say, oh, well, the Eastern Mountains, like the Smoky Mountains, that's no big deal. The Appalachian Mountains, no big deal. Well, yeah, that's because those mountains are actually on their decline. They're the oldest mountain range on the planet, whereas the stuff out west is fairly new comparatively, right? So it's all a marvel and all worth spending some time in if you can make it happen.
So I kind of want to bring you back down to earth, because it sounds like your life on the road is nothing but peaches and ice cream. Yeah. So let's bring people back into reality. So what are some of the biggest struggles, I guess, you and your partner had this past year, just being on the road for so long?
Well, just the road life in general with a partner, that's going to be the biggest challenge for a lot of people. Just spending that much time with the same person, literally 5 inches away for 98% of your time. You really have to work out your stuff, right? You really need to know each other. You need to know what's okay, what's not, and you have to be sure things get resolved. Because if it's not resolved and you're in the car for the next 7 hours, it's got to be resolved. So that you
don't have a quiet bedroom to go to huff and puff.
Right. There are times where we drove to a hike and maybe we'll hike to a peak on our own. I'll see you at the top. You good? But at the end of the day, you really have to make sure that your communications are on point. The second thing is you have to be okay. You really have to be okay with your lack of freshness. You may not get a shower on average 3 days, 4 days, sometimes as much as 7 or 8. You have to be okay with that. And just have wet wipe baths if you need to. And sometimes that just happens. And then with that, laundry, you're going to have to be okay wearing your clothes for a few days. That's just the nature of the life that we live. The last thing we're really, really trying to work on is eating better. Since we're traveling, it's very easy to go out and just grab something. One, it's expensive, and two, it's not very nutritious. And when you're driving constantly, that stuff, and you're getting older, that stuff is important. So we're really trying to make a concerted effort to cook more and eat healthier things. We just have to be sure whatever we cook, we're okay with eating the next 2 days, because there's always going to be leftovers, and you got to eat them.
So what are your favorite things to cook while you're out there?
We cook a lot of pasta dishes, because you can just do it all in one pot. You get your noodles, you get your meat, you get your sauce, and you kind of combine it, everything, right? So anything that we can make in one pot is kind of the go-to. We'll make some spicy garlic noodles, with some chicken, like an Asian dish, so those kinds of things. When we do order food, like we order a pizza, for instance, pizza is one of those things you can enjoy cold. So we'll actually get the largest pizza we can find. That way we can eat it for 2 days, and eat that cold. But and just eating more fruits and veggies instead of reaching for chips. Maybe reach for some carrots. Maybe reach for some grapes, more so than just your Doritos.
And I can imagine that having that electric freezer or electric refrigerator is a big component of that. I've looked at those, because you're right. Having to deal with ice when you're out on the road for, we're usually gone a month or so it's not to net level, but it's a lot more than a lot of other people are doing. Having to deal with ice is the biggest pain in the rear end.
Right. It's not only that. Ice isn't the cheapest thing anymore. No. And not only that, then you got to worry about draining it. Or you have to deal with the meat water that's in the bottom of it, right? That's never going to be, nice. So just having a dedicated fridge, and ours can actually be a freezer if we set it down. But that's what we never set it to freezing, because we still try to keep things as fresh so we can eat it the next day. We just have to be sure whenever we buy groceries, it's going to be consumed in the next few days, because throwing it out is not something we're looking to do.
Gotcha. So now I'm going to counteract your whole, I'm going to eat healthier. What is your favorite guilty pleasure getting off an exit that you can just go to, that's you're like, oh, I see that fast food place. I'm gonna go there.
Oh, fast food place? Okay.
Yeah.
Fast food place could literally be anywhere. It could be Taco Bell, it could be Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, I'll do Culver's, I'll do them all, right? But when it comes to gas stations, we're talking
Okay.
we're talking root beer and Swiss rolls. Like, oh boy. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I like for me, like when we're going out west, man, out west is hard because it the food scene, yeah, I mean, you know, McDonald's and stuff, but like out west, we always try to avoid a lot of the fast food to go to somewhere like very local.
Yeah.
But when we're out east, if I see a Bojangles, like I'm stopping at a Bojangles.
Right. Yeah. They don't have those out west. And when the first time we saw one, Janelle was like, what is that? Right. But you don't have In-N-Outs. Right. So
So Adam from SoCal Hangers, that was the very first place that he took me after we got off. I got off the airplane. He picked me up. Was like, I'm taking you to an In-N-Out burger. He's like, I'm even gonna order for you because he's like that. You just need this, and this.
Okay.
I was like, okay, whatever. And yeah, as far as like a fast food hamburger, it changed my life.
Oh, see, there you go. I had a controversial post where I ordered it, took a bite, and I posted on Facebook. Oh, I got lit. I got lit up in the comments. So it was like, what do you mean? I was like, oh, it was all right.
I've never had a Whataburger though, so
I don't think I have either. Wahlburger I have, but yeah, I mean there's some good places out there, you know. But we try to limit that as much as possible.
Gosh, I can imagine, so siding off fast food, even for as much as we do, like over the summer, it wears on you. Like after all, it's like I don't want to look at a hamburger, I don't want to look at pizza.
Yeah, you just kind of you're like, blah, it's all gross, right? Yeah.
I would say like the biggest game changer for us as far as food in our travel, we have a 14-inch Blackstone, and
nice.
Like it was a game changer. Like we don't have we don't bring pots, we don't bring pans. We can cook literally anything that we want right on that Blackstone. Just scrape it off, wipe it down. No dishes that we've got to worry about other than just our plates and things like that. Right. That was a game changer for us.
And that's propane, right?
Yeah. So
nice.
We usually take our pipe up. So we've got the propane tanks on the outside, just hook into that. And like I couldn't tell you the last time we refilled a propane tank. It's just it's been forever.
That's perfect. We got rid of our propane this year. We had a propane stove last year, and I just didn't like driving with a propane tank inside the car. And then getting it all set up every single time, we ended up not cooking hardly ever because of that. Now this year, since we got a big battery bank and everything, now it's all induction cooktop. Plug it in, turn everything on, boom, done. We can start cooking.
Gotcha. So we were talking about you coming to HangCon and things like that. So what are some things that you are most excited about being? This will be your first HangCon.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you are the most excited about?
Well, one is just being around these like-minded people, because as much as I know about hammocks and as much time as I spent in them, these are my people, right? These are people who are all things hammocks, and not only that, just there's people who enjoy being outside, and a hammock gets them there. That is amazing in and of itself, the people. But then, of course, there's the vendors, there's some new stuff. What's the newest and latest stuff that I get to see. And I'm really hoping to, through the lens of Leave No Trace, do some interviews, talk to people about different initiatives, what they see and things like that, try to get some content in that regard. But just kind of being there and just being part of the event, because it's such a spectacular event. And I don't know if you knew this or not, but it's the largest hammock hang,
I think I've heard that.
So yeah, I'm excited to be a part of that.
So when you're going and doing a lot of other things with Leave No Trace at some of these events, do you get to participate in that community while you're there? And what are the vibes like at some of the other different communities that you see around the country?
Yeah, we've actually participated quite a bit. A lot of times we'll go into a place like, for instance, Capitol Reef National Park in Utah. We did a workshop there at their actual field station. It's like this it's a station in the middle of the park that's off grid, completely self-sustained. We did a program with them. But then we got to kind of hang out and join them for their next education group that came in, and really get to see the sustainability side of what that park does, and also what the park, Utah Valley University kind of helps with the programming there. So we get to really interact with those people, and a lot of times get immersed to what they are doing. And there are times where after a program, we've been invited to, other people's cabins, or, and yeah, we get to talk and spend time with so many like-minded people. It's kind of refreshing.
Awesome. Well, Rob, I'm really excited about you coming to HangCon. I'm really excited. I really hope that I can get away and come to your talk, because, I think a lot of people, they hear like leave no trace and like, oh, just clean up after yourself. But no,
Right.
It's really so much more than that. And I guarantee you there's going to be some things that you're going to say, I never thought about that as part of being leave no trace. And I'm really excited that you are coming to HangCon to share that information with us.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I know you've been trying to get me out there for the last couple of years, and I finally could be able to make it. But I'm coming in two different lenses. One as a Rob Pelton, YouTube channel, but I'm also coming, on behalf of Leave No Trace as well. So yeah, I'll be up on stage on Saturday talking about an hour about Leave No Trace and hammocking, but this is more of a, like, I'm just going to talk about it. There's nothing preachy about it. It's just more information sharing, share some stories, share some stats, and then hopefully people can come away with just a little bit more information to help them keep these outdoor spaces valuable, because there's no substitute for nature, right? Being outside there, you can't get that anywhere else. And they're not making any more nature as well. So it's really up to us to make sure these places stay healthy so we can keep enjoying them. Right. So that's kind of what it's about. So if you're listening to this, if you can, join me while I'm going through a little bit of Leave No Trace on stage, that would be wonderful. I'm just stoked to be a part of the whole thing, and just being there and taking it all in.
So I encourage you all, if you're listening to this, to check out Rob's interview that he did with Chad with UGQ. We really appreciate the information that you gave here today. You gave some different pieces of information to Chad, which is also like a really good. I thoroughly enjoyed the interview for being someone that has been camping since the first grade, which has been kind of many moons ago. It's always really great to learn something else that I didn't know, because you're like, I've been camping for a long time. I know everything. Oh, I never thought about that. So, next time I'm going to have that in the back of my mind to kind of change out, what I'm doing as well, to, again, make sure that those places that we do enjoy, we can keep enjoying them for years to come.
Exactly. So now, when it's the 30th HangCon, we can still, those spaces are still out there and available to us. Right.
Absolutely. So Rob, if people want to find you on social media, where can they find you?
Very simple. You can hop on YouTube and just type in Rob Pelton and look for my face. I post on Instagram every once in a while. That's the same thing, rob.pelton. But I'm trying to get some more content in. I actually have some gear reviews I need to get in before the end of the year. But follow our travels, follow our adventures, and follow our backpacking trips. And just a lot of fun stuff and mishaps while we're on the road.
Awesome. Well, Rob, thank you again for coming on and chatting with me. And hey, we look forward to seeing you at HangCon.
AJ, I appreciate it, man.
All right. Well, hangers, that is it for this week. We appreciate you joining us for my chat with Rob Pelton. Definitely come check him out at HangCon. If you haven't already, go to hangcon.com and pick up those tickets for the event. There's only a few more RV sites left, so if you would like an RV site, which is the only way you're going to park at your campsite at HangCon, definitely pick one of those up. There's only 5 of those left. And we really looking forward to seeing not only Rob, but the host of Dreamers and Thieves and Misfits that we will see at HangCon. So until next time, everybody, happy hanging, y'all.
As we gently sway out of another hammock-filled episode, we want to thank you, our wonderful listeners, for hanging out with us on the Hammock Hangers Podcast. We hope that you have found relaxation, inspiration, and a renewed sense of connection to nature through our discussions. Remember to keep that hammock spirit alive in your daily life, whether it's by taking a few moments to unwind in your own backyard oasis, or by planning your next hammock adventure in the great outdoors. Embracing the tranquility, embracing the simplicity, and never forget the joy that comes from simply hanging around. Before we part ways, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date with all things hammock related. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for the Hammock Hangers Podcast. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to hang with you again on our next episode. Until then, stay relaxed, stay adventurous, and keep on hanging those hammocks high. From all of us here at the Hammock Hangers Podcast, we wish you peaceful hangs and endless relaxation. Thank you for tuning in. Happy hanging, everyone.